United States or Russia, F-22, Raptor versus Su-57. Which of these armies has the best aircraft? Unfortunately, the situation has led me to make this video. As you can see, the situation is very tense between the United States and Russia, and what we are going to do in this video is compare the air forces of both the United States and the Russian Air Force. But before that, share your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think has a more powerful air force? To begin, we must comprehend the various types of aircraft an army possesses. Since we're discussing a hypothetical war scenario, we'll only focus on aircraft that would be directly involved in combat operations. For instance, aircraft for training or firefighting purposes. We're not going to take them into account. They can be summarized into 5 types. First, the bombers. These are usually quite heavy aircraft that can carry many bombs, and their goal is simply to penetrate enemy territory and drop all the bombs. The second type of aircraft we have are the fighters, in English fighter. And this type of aircraft can perform tasks both ground attack and air-to-air combat. To be fair, it must be said that there are several categories within this category. For example, interceptors are aircraft designed solely for high-speed flight. And there are other aircraft that are more focused on air-to-air attack, others that are more focused on being versatile, etc. But, well, we have grouped them all together because otherwise it would be a real mess. The third type of aircraft we have are the attack ones, which focus on ground attack. The difference with bombers is that they tend to be more precise and also use shorter range weapons, for example a cannon, a machine gun that the aircraft carries, and they are also used to support ground troops if it was necessary to destroy any target to allow ground troops to advance. These aircraft would do the job. The fourth type of aircraft are radar control ones. These aircraft are very curious because they focus on carrying a huge radar on top. That is, as such they do not attack, they simply fly around where the battle is taking place, and what they do is that with the large radar they have, they can provide coverage on where the enemy aircraft are. Although all aircraft actually have radars, none is nearly as powerful as the radar used by these aircraft, which are specially designed for that. And the fifth type of aircraft are transport aircraft, but we have decided not to include them in the video because it would be super complex, as these aircraft have different sizes, different engines, fly at different speeds. I mean, this would indeed be a real mess. Plus there are the aircraft of military transport, but they are not focused on troop transport, but transport, for example, of the president, ministers, etc. So we have decided these aircraft not to include them. It's important that you understand that having more aircraft does not make your army better, because really today it is very unlikely that there would be a one-on-one war between the US and Russia using all their war power. Russia has an advantage if the conflict with Ukraine escalates, as they are right next door, making troop transport aircraft and tanks deployment much easier compared to the US. However, being on Ukraine's border also means Russia cannot afford to lose any territory. So if a war were to occur, Russia's proximity to Ukraine has both advantages and disadvantages. The most important thing would be to control the airspace. For that, the US would likely use its stealth aircraft technology. For example, the F-22 or the F-35, which we are now going to talk about, would try to destroy Russia's radar bases and also its anti-aircraft systems, because if these infrastructures are destroyed, Russia would not be able to do anything against the United States aircraft. This is why Russia would probably have to bring out the Sukhoi 57s, which are the best aircraft it has right now. So in the end, there would be a one-on-one fight between the Sukhoi 57s and the F-22s for control of the airspace. Once one of these countries had control of the airspace, a ground invasion could begin, and then the attack aircraft could provide support. So now we are definitely going to compare the armies of the United States and Russia. It's important for you to know that most aircraft are within the Air Force, but for example, the US has all the aircraft carriers within the Navy, which contain all the F-18S, etc. So when these data are relevant, we will discuss them. It's also important to say that within an aircraft, I'm going to include all its variants. For example, when I say F-18, I'm including all the variants of F-18 that exist, the same with all the others. So now we are definitely going to start counting the bombers of the United States of America. It has 45 B-1 bombers, aircraft with variable geometry prepared to go at supersonic speeds, infiltrate enemy territory at high speed, and drop bombs wherever necessary and then get out at full speed. The variable geometry allows it to take off with much more weight than it could if it had a fixed arrow wing design. Since it's a bomber carrying a heavy load, this is extremely important. Then it has 19 units of B-2 Spirit and aircraft prepared for stealth, which means it is very difficult to detect by radar signal. In this way, it can sneak into enemy territory without being detected and drop all the bombs. 74 units of B-52, an aircraft that is quite old but can carry a lot of weight and bombs. Well, this adds up to a total of 138 aircraft. Let's look at Russia, 66 units of Tupolev 22. An aircraft similar to the American B-1, capable of supersonic speeds to reach enemy territory, drop bombs, and depart at maximum speed. However, this aircraft is considerably smaller. 42 units of Tupolev 95. A turboprop plane with counter-rotating rotors, not as fast but with a huge capacity to carry bombs. 16 units of Tupolev 160. This one is indeed a very similar aircraft to the B-1, also in size. In fact, it is always talked about as a copy from one model to another, but what is true is that it is also larger and more powerful. They add up to a total of 124 bombers. As you can really see here, things are quite even, although it is true that there is one thing to comment on, and that is that the US has the possibility of using the B-2s with stealth capability and could, they say of course, get into enemy territory without being detected and could destroy there. Well, could drop the bombs there, but really the B-2s are the most expensive aircraft of all, so it is very unlikely that they would risk putting it in enemy territory, not only for losing it, but also because if they shoot it down and recover some important parts, they could reverse engineer and see the important parts of the plane. Let's now go with the attack aircraft. We start with the United States 281 units of A-10, an aircraft that was designed around its cannon. Designed to support troops in combat, 21 units of AC-130, an aircraft whose objective would be to stay orbiting in the attack zone and while using its cannons. This totals 302 aircraft. Helicopters also fall into this category, as they are used for support. They have 65 units of UH-1, the iconic one from the Vietnam War, 106 units of HH-60 Pave Hawk, a modification of the Black Hawks. But also outside of the Air Force, they have 44 units of MH-6792, AH-64, Apache 503 Chinooks, 2051. MH-60 Blackhawks, 341 units of UH-7290, AH-1Z, 123 units of CH-53, and 122 units of UH-1, adding up to a total of 4,335, 90 AH-1Z, 123 units of CH-53, and 122 units of UH-1, adding up to a total of 4,335 helicopters. Let's now count those of Russia. 274 units of Sukhoi 24A supersonic aircraft with variable geometry. 193 units of Sukhoi 25. A subsonic aircraft designed for close air support, similar to the American A-10. 467 aircraft displaying utmost madness. Helicopters also have a wide variety. 5 Eurocopter AS-356, Kamov K-27, 109 units of the famous K-52, 14 Kamov 226, 50 units of the Kazan Ansat, 37 Mi-2, 762 Mi-8, 329 Mi-24, 38 Mi-26, which is the world's largest helicopter, 108 Mi-28, and 2 Mi-38. Adding up to a total of 1,460 helicopters. So let's now compare the radar control aircraft. We start with the United States. The United States has 31 units of Airborne Warning and Control System, a modified aircraft from a Boeing 707 to perform the functions of providing radar coverage. Let's see what Russia has in this regard. On the part of Russia, we have 15 A-50, 22 units of Illusion 22, and 3 units of Illusion 80. The sum makes a total of 40 aircraft, and also in this conflict as it is on the border of Russia, as we have commented, Russia could make use of all the radar systems it has near the border, which would give it a huge advantage. Well, now we have indeed reached what many of you were probably waiting for, the turn of the fighters, and watch out, because this is absolute madness. We start with the United States. Well then, we start with 460 units of Fa-15 distributed among its different variants. As we have already mentioned, this is an aircraft that started out as an air superiority fighter, but has ended up also performing ground attack and fighter tasks. 934 units of Fo-16, an aircraft also multi-role, but mainly designed for air-to-air combat. 186 units of F-22 Raptor, an aircraft designed exclusively for air superiority, with stealth capability to be more undetectable to radar signals and vector thrust nozzles in one direction to assist in pitch movement and allow extreme maneuvers. 283 units of F-35, an aircraft that in theory can also perform all tasks and also has stealth capability. Just like before, the United States uses a lot of fighters in its Navy and Marine Corps force. In total, between these two forces, they add up, mind you, 997 F-18 in their different variants, 14 F-16, 175 F-35, and 41 F-5. Given that the number is so considerably high, I will take them into account. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, they add up to a total of 3,090 fighter planes. Absolute madness. But how many does Russia have? Russia has 259 MiG-29s, a very, very versatile fighter plane accompanied by 113 units of MiG-31, a high-speed interceptor designed to even reach Mach 3, and also 8 units of MiG-35, a very, very versatile fighter plane accompanied by 113 units of MiG-31, a high-speed interceptor designed to even reach Mach, and also 8 units of MiG-35. A superior 4th-generation fighter as commented on for its capabilities. 131 units of Sukhoi 34. These aircraft and the entire Sukhoi family, they are known for having impressive maneuverability superior to most American fighters, not to mention all of them. 175 units of Sukhoi 27, 103 units of Sukhoi 30, and 119 units of Sukhoi 30. And keep in mind that, as I've already told you, they have incredible maneuverability. It's because all of these have vector thrust. But beware, the crown jewel is coming. 5 units of Sukhoi 57, the Russian design analogous to the F-22, with which they would try to fight for airspace. This plane has stealth capability and is highly maneuverable due to its vectorizable nozzle, adding up to a total of 910 aircraft. I'll input the data and we'll compare each category one by one. 138 American bombers against 124 Russian bombers. 302 American attack aircraft against 467 from Russia. 4,335 helicopters from the United States against the 1,460 from Russia. 31 radar control aircraft from the United States against 40 from Russia. And finally, 3,090 fighters from the United States against 910 from Russia. Incredible. The truth is that it is quite even, although one thing must be said, and well, really what I said at the beginning, and that is that the number of aircraft is not the most important thing. The technology that those aircraft have is much more important. As an aeronautical engineer knowledgeable about planes, I believe the United States has invested significantly more money in military matters in recent years compared to Russia. While this is not just a belief but a reality, I think this has led to the United States having slightly better military technology than Russia. But this is indeed something that would need to be heard from an expert and have them explain why in case it were true. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting. And above all, I hope we don't have to find out which of these two armies is better. If you are new to this channel, then subscribe. We talk about aeronautical engineering, and the truth is that the videos are improving a lot over time. I don't usually get involved in these war topics, since I am a specialist in aeronautical engineering and I can make comparisons between airplanes, but when I get into topics of military armament and such, I am not an expert. That's why I simply put the data, and I have not said at any time which I think is better and which I think is worse, but I would like to know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.